Have you ever had that feeling, where you have a goal, something you really want to achieve, and you kind of sense that your mind is the key to getting there, but you're just not quite sure how to turn that key?
Mm, yeah.
Well, today we're going to dive deep into a fascinating technique that just might help you unlock that power. Self-hypnosis. We've got a whole collection of information for you from some really interesting sources, like clinical insights from the Mayo Clinic, practical how-to stuff from hypnotherapy training manuals, and even some health-focused articles that bring it all together.
Yeah, think of it as your personal deep dive into the world of self-hypnosis. We're going to break down exactly what it is, how it works, and explore some of the potential benefits people are talking about.
Right. And all without getting bogged down in jargon or technical stuff, we want to keep this super clear and engaging so you can decide if it's something you want to explore further.
Absolutely. We've got insights into those core principles that make self-hypnosis tick, and even a step-by-step guide on how to give it a try yourself.
Sounds good. So, first things first. What exactly is self-hypnosis?
Well, at its core, self-hypnosis is a different state of awareness. Think of it as a deepening of relaxation, a sharper focus, an increase in your concentration.
Hmm.
It's often compared to that focused calm you might feel during meditation.
Right. Okay.
The Mayo Clinic actually describes it as a state where you become more open to suggestions that can help you make positive changes in your behavior.
Okay. But when I hear the word hypnosis, I've got to be honest, my mind immediately goes to those stage shows where people cluck like chickens and stuff.
I know exactly what you mean.
Is self-hypnosis anything like that? Because that's not really what I'm looking for, to be honest.
Not at all. That's definitely the image we often get from pop culture and entertainment. But it's really a world away from what we're talking about here.
Okay, good.
In self-hypnosis, you're always in control, fully aware of your surroundings. It's not about someone else taking over your mind.
Right.
It's about you learning to guide your own mind into a state where it's more receptive to those positive suggestions you're giving yourself.
That makes so much more sense. So it's really about empowering yourself to make changes.
Exactly.
That naturally leads to the question,
Mm-hmm.
why would you even consider using self-hypnosis? What are the potential benefits that make it worth exploring?
There's actually some really encouraging stuff in our research about the potential benefits. Let's start with something many people struggle with, sleep.
Yeah, big one.
A 2020 study focused on postmenopausal women who are having sleep issues, and they found that self-hypnosis had the potential to improve not only the amount of sleep they got, but also the quality of their sleep.
Really?
Plus, participants reported fewer hot flashes and night sweats, and even saw improvements in their mood. So it seems like it had a kind of ripple effect of positive changes.
Wow, that's a lot of improvement from one practice. And was this just a one-off finding, or?
It wasn't a one-off. There was a 2018 review that looked at 24 different studies on hypnosis and sleep. And over half of them, more than 58%, actually supported using it as a potential solution for sleep problems.
Interesting.
Now, not all of these studies were specifically on self-hypnosis,
Right.
but a lot of them did involve participants practicing at home using recordings, so the self-directed aspect was definitely there.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. So sleep's a big one for many people. What about other common goals, like weight loss? Any evidence that self-hypnosis could be helpful there?
You know, there is. A 2021 review looked at 11 studies specifically focusing on hypnosis for weight management, and 9 of them showed it could be a valuable tool.
Hmm.
Researchers suggested that self-hypnosis, especially when combined with mindfulness techniques, can help you become more aware of your eating habits, improve your body image, and even manage emotional eating where you're eating because of your feelings rather than actual hunger.
I can definitely see that. That whole idea of becoming more conscious of why and how you eat that resonates. Were there any studies that looked at self-hypnosis specifically for weight loss?
There were. One 2018 study compared 2 weight loss programs for adults with a higher BMI. Both programs had diet and exercise components, but one group also incorporated self-hypnosis techniques.
Mm.
What they found was the group using self-hypnosis reported feeling fuller after meals, had a better quality of life overall, and even showed signs of reduced inflammation in their bodies.
Wow.
And probably most importantly for their goals, they actually lost more weight than the group that didn't use self-hypnosis.
So it seems like self-hypnosis can really complement other lifestyle changes you're making.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Now, what about pain management? That's another area where so many people are searching for relief.
Yeah, for sure. Our research had some really interesting findings on that too. A 2016 study looked at older adults in a hospital setting dealing with chronic pain. And they found that hypnosis was actually more effective at providing pain relief than massage therapy.
More effective than massage. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was quite a comparison. And on top of the pain relief, it seemed to have a positive effect on their mood, too.
Interesting. What about for more chronic pain conditions? The kind that people live with every day.
There was a 2014 study that focused specifically on veterans with chronic low back pain. They compared self-hypnosis to biofeedback, which is another mind-body technique.
Okay.
And the results showed that self-hypnosis was more successful in reducing their pain levels, and these benefits stuck around for at least 6 months after the initial treatment.
That's really promising, especially for chronic pain.
Right. What's even more encouraging is that even just 2 training sessions in self-hypnosis, along with participants practicing at home, seem to be just as effective as more intensive interventions.
2 sessions, and then you have a tool you can use at home. That's amazing.
Yes.
So we've got sleep, weight loss, pain management. Are there any other potential benefits to self-hypnosis that we found in our research?
Yes, there were a few other areas that popped up in the research. Some studies suggested that self-hypnosis could be helpful in boosting mindfulness, reducing overall stress levels, easing anxiety, building self-confidence, and even supporting efforts to quit smoking.
Wow, that's quite a range.
It is. But it's important to note that the general consensus is that more research, particularly larger studies, are needed to really confirm these additional benefits.
Makes sense. Okay, so we've got a good picture of what self-hypnosis is and some of its potential benefits. Now let's get into the nuts and bolts. What are the actual principles that make self-hypnosis work?
This is where it gets really fascinating. One of the core concepts is suggestion, and more specifically, the idea of autosuggestion. This was a central focus for Émile Coué. You have a French pharmacist who was really into the power of our own self-talk.
Okay.
Coué believed that all suggestion ultimately boils down to self-suggestion.
Interesting.
He emphasized that for a suggestion to be truly effective, you have to consciously accept it. It can't be forced on you.
So it's about me offering those suggestions to myself while I'm in that relaxed state.
Exactly. And Coué also observed that when there's a conflict between your imagination and your willpower, your imagination usually wins.
Oh, that's interesting.
Which brings us to another key principle: the power of your imagination. Self-hypnosis really uses this by having you create vivid mental images related to your goals.
I can see that.
These mental pictures can often be way more powerful than just trying to force yourself forward with willpower.
Yeah, I think I've definitely experienced that myself. A strong mental image can be so much more motivating than just telling yourself you should do something.
Exactly.
Are there other principles at work here?
Oh yeah, for sure. There's the law of concentrated attention. This basically states that when you focus your attention really intently on a specific idea, it gets amplified in your mind.
Makes sense.
So self-hypnosis utilizes this by guiding your focus while you're in that relaxed state towards the outcomes you want. And then there's the law of repeated effect, which highlights how important repetition is for forming new habits. By consistently repeating affirmations that are connected to your goals, you're basically helping your subconscious mind to accept those affirmations as true.
So it's about that consistent, focused repetition.
Exactly. Coué actually recommended repeating affirmations multiple times each night to really drive them home.
Interesting. Any other big principles we should know about?
Well, the mind-body connection is huge here. This shows up in what are sometimes called the rules of the mind. For example, one of the rules is that every thought creates a physical reaction in your body. Think about how getting anxious before a big presentation can give you physical symptoms, like a racing heart or sweaty palms.
Yeah.
Self-hypnosis aims to tap into this mind-body connection.
Okay.
It uses positive suggestions to actually influence those physical responses.
That's a really cool way to think about it, that our thoughts can have such a direct impact on our bodies.
Yeah, totally. Another rule is that what you expect to happen often does.
Like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Exactly. If you go into a situation expecting to fail, you're more likely to. But if you believe you can succeed, that can have a huge positive impact.
Right.
There was this fascinating study about hotel workers who were told that their daily tasks were good exercise.
Really?
And even though their work didn't actually change, the workers who were told that actually showed improvements in their weight, blood pressure, body fat, all sorts of things, just because their expectation of what their work was doing for them shifted.
That's incredible, just the power of expectation alone.
Right.
Are there any other, maybe less obvious principles at play in self-hypnosis?
There's one that can seem a bit counterintuitive, actually.
Yeah.
It's called the law of reversed effort.
Hmm.
It suggests that the more conscious effort you put into something, the less your subconscious mind gets involved.
Okay, how did that work?
Well, think about trying to remember a name that's on the tip of your tongue. The harder you try, the further away it seems to get. But then when you relax and stop trying so hard, it pops right into your head.
Yeah, that happens all the time.
Right. In self-hypnosis, it's similar. It's about letting go of that struggle and just allowing yourself to relax and accept the suggestions without forcing them.
I like that.
It's like trying to balance on ice skates. The more tense you are, the more likely you are to fall.
So it's almost like the subconscious works best when we step back a little and let it do its thing.
Exactly.
Okay, so now we've got a solid understanding of what self-hypnosis is and the principles behind it. Let's get to the practical part. How can our listeners actually try self-hypnosis?
Okay, so the most important thing is to get comfortable. Wear loose-fitting clothing that won't distract you.
Yeah, definitely no tight collars.
Huh, right. Next, you want to find a peaceful environment. Choose a quiet space where you won't be interrupted. Make sure your phone is off and either sit or lie down comfortably. If you're sitting, make sure your back is well supported.
Got it. Comfortable clothes, peaceful setting, comfy position. What next?
Before you even start relaxing, take a minute to set a clear goal for your session. What do you want to achieve? It could be anything from feeling calmer and more focused during the day to sleeping better at night.
Right.
Once you've got your goal in mind, you can either focus your gaze softly on a still object or just close your eyes, whatever feels more natural and relaxing for you.
Okay, so goal set. Eyes either softly focused or closed. How do we actually get into that relaxed state for self-hypnosis?
Start by focusing on your breath.
Me?
Breathe in slowly and deeply through your nose, letting your belly rise,
Yes.
and then exhale slowly through your mouth. If your eyes are open, keep your gaze soft on that object.
Okay.
As you're doing this, you can start to imagine that with each exhale, your eyelids are getting heavier and heavier, more and more relaxed until they just naturally want to close.
Okay, so once my eyes are closed, what happens next?
Keep breathing slowly and deeply. Just focus on the sensation of your breath. This will help to quiet your mind and prevent your thoughts from racing. If you find yourself getting distracted, don't worry, that's normal. Just gently redirect your attention back to your breath.
Okay.
As you breathe, notice any tension in your body, maybe in your shoulders, your jaw, or your forehead. With each exhale, consciously let go of that tension, allowing those muscles to relax.
Slow, deep breaths, releasing tension. What's the next step?
Now it's time to really tap into that imagination. Create a vivid, peaceful mental picture. A happy place, if you will, using all your senses. What do you see, hear, smell, feel? Maybe you're on a quiet beach, feeling the warm sun and the gentle breeze, hearing the waves, smelling the salt air. Or maybe you're in a beautiful garden, surrounded by colorful flowers, the buzzing of bees, the scent of blossoms.
So relaxing already.
Right. Choose whatever feels the most calming and peaceful to you. Spend some time in this mental sanctuary. Really get into the details. As you do this, you can start to imagine your body getting heavier and heavier, as if you're sinking deeper into whatever you're sitting or lying on, just feeling completely supported and at ease.
So you're really creating that sense of deep relaxation.
Exactly. Once you feel completely relaxed and comfortable, you can start repeating a positive phrase to yourself, a mantra or affirmation. Something like, I am calm, I am at peace, or I am relaxed.
Right.
This can help to solidify that state of mind. After a few moments of just enjoying this relaxation, you can then shift your focus to the specific goal you set for the session.
Okay.
Use vivid visualization to imagine yourself actually achieving that goal. Really see it, hear it, feel it. If your goal is to sleep better, for example, imagine yourself in bed, feeling the comfort of your blankets, breathing easily as you drift off to sleep.
So I'm using that relaxed state to really visualize the positive outcome.
Yeah. And as you're visualizing, start mentally repeating affirmations that relate to that goal. For example, if you want to feel more confident giving presentations, you might repeat to yourself, I speak confidently and clearly, or my ideas are valuable and well received.
Okay.
As you repeat those affirmations, really feel them and believe in them. Spend about 5 to 10 minutes focusing on your goal this way.
Okay. What happens when I'm ready to end this session?
When you're ready to come back, it's time to gently bring yourself back to full awareness. Start by imagining taking a deep, energizing breath. As you inhale, feel energy flowing into your body. And then as you exhale, imagine that energy flowing out into your arms and legs, making them feel lighter, Repeat this a few times.
Okay.
Now, start slowly counting upwards from 1 to 10. As you count, tell yourself that with each number, you're becoming more alert, more aware of your surroundings. When you reach 10, tell yourself that you'll open your eyes feeling refreshed and ready for your day.
And then I just opened my eyes. That was a really great step-by-step walkthrough. For those of us who are new to this, any tips for making it easier or more effective?
Absolutely. One of the easiest ways to start is by using guided self-hypnosis recordings.
Oh, yeah. Good idea.
There are tons of resources available online on platforms like YouTube or through apps and books. These recordings basically talk you through the entire process, which can be super helpful when you're first learning.
Right. What else?
Don't be afraid to experiment with different relaxation techniques too. If just focusing on your breath isn't quite doing it for you, try something else. You can imagine yourself slowly walking down a staircase, visualizing each step, taking you deeper into relaxation. Or maybe picture yourself floating downwards in calm water, each movement bringing a greater sense of peace.
It's all about finding what works best for you.
Exactly. And to really see results, consistency is key. Try to incorporate self-hypnosis into your daily routine, even if it's just for 10-15 minutes each day. You might find it helpful to practice first thing in the morning to set the tone for your day, or maybe in the evening before bed to help you relax.
Makes sense. What about mindset? Does that play a role?
Oh, absolutely. One of the most important tips is to really cultivate a belief in the benefits of self-hypnosis. Having a positive and open mind can make it much easier to commit to the practice and might even boost its effectiveness for you.
It's all about that self-belief. Now, while self-hypnosis seems like a really great tool that people can use on their own, are there times when it makes sense to seek professional help from a hypnotherapist?
That's a great question. And yes, it's important to recognize that while self-hypnosis can be very effective for lots of people and for a wide range of goals, it might not be the best fit for everyone or for every situation. If you find it really hard to relax on your own, or if you're dealing with more complex issues that seem rooted deeper, working with a qualified hypnotherapist could be really beneficial.
So they can provide more personalized guidance.
Exactly. A professional hypnotherapist has the training and expertise to guide you into a hypnotic state and create suggestions that are perfectly tailored to your specific needs.
That makes sense. Are there any red flags to look out for when choosing a hypnotherapist?
Definitely be cautious of anyone who suggests using hypnosis to, revisit traumatic memories or recover repressed memories. That kind of work can sometimes bring up really strong emotional reactions and is best done with a trained therapist in a safe and controlled environment.
That's good to know.
And when you are looking for a hypnotherapist, always choose someone who is certified by a reputable organization and has a good track record. Ask around for recommendations, inquire about their training, licensing, experience, and fees.
It's really important to do your research and prioritize safety and proper training. So as we wrap up our deep dives into self-hypnosis, what are the key takeaways you'd like our listeners to remember?
Well, to put it all together, self-hypnosis is a state of focused relaxation and heightened awareness. It's a tool that can help you achieve all kinds of personal goals and just generally improve your well-being. It taps into the power of suggestion, imagination, and that deep connection between your mind and body.
Right. And the research seems to suggest that it's really promising, especially for things like sleep, weight management, and pain relief.
It really does. However, it's important to remember that everyone's different and results can vary.
Right.
And self-hypnosis is not a replacement for medical treatment when it's necessary,
Definitely.
but it can be a super valuable and empowering addition to your life.
I agree. So as you go about your day after listening to this, think about which of your own habits, your beliefs, your goals might already be influenced by those principles we talked about today. Things like the power of your expectations or the impact of those thoughts that are constantly running through your head. Even if you're not formally practicing self-hypnosis, you might be unknowingly using these principles already, or you might be able to start applying them more consciously in your daily life.
Right.
It's all about harnessing that power to make positive changes and move closer to what you want to achieve.
Couldn't agree more. And if this deep dive has piqued your interest, there are tons of resources available on guided self-hypnosis that you can explore. You could also look into the work of Emil Coué. His ideas on the power of conscious suggestion are fascinating. It's definitely a whole world of possibilities to discover.
It really is.